Chapter 4, Amnesia. Now, does that mean we're going to take all the work we've done so far and have them forget it, completely wipe it out? Well, the idea is not quite that extreme, but we do want them to forget as much as possible. It's not entirely necessary that they forget any of the session. Amnesia is kind of the icing on the cake. We're taking a very powerful session where they were hopefully very deep. And just in case they remember some of the things that happened, we're going to introduce the idea of amnesia. The idea of them actually forgetting some of the things that happened during the session. Actually, this is not necessary at all. Even if they remember every single thing that happened, and even if they feel they're quote-unquote awake for the entire session, it's still going to be very powerful for them because remember, they are at least in alpha. They are at least in that slowed down twilight state that you're in right before waking up or right before going to bed. Now, does this mean we're going to have the person forget everything that we've done? Well, we're going to try to consciously throw them off the trail because some people will come into the office being overly analytical. These are the people who are certain they can't be hypnotized. These are the people who are going to analyze everything you do. And at the end of the session, they're probably going to recite many things to you just to show you that they're more powerful than hypnosis. What these people are actually doing is working against themselves. They're potentially wasting their money if they've come to you. That's why we want to do amnesia, to maximize the benefit to the individual. The less information we have them analyzing with their conscious mind, the more chance we have of them having a very powerful session. Now, if they analyze things with their conscious mind and have a total recall of everything that happened in the session, that's actually okay, because the messages still get through. Think about it. Negative messages from our childhood still get through. What if someone were to say to you that you'll never amount to anything? Or you're a loser, something like that. Those messages, though delivered in full awakening consciousness, can be very powerful. So hypnosis is not even necessary to deliver certain messages as long as the person is very receptive. If it's a parent or an authority figure delivering those messages will sink in very powerfully. So keep in mind, amnesia is not necessary, and you don't necessarily have to do it every time. In fact, with people who seem to be paranoid or overly concerned about the hypnotic process, you may want to eliminate it altogether. It is not necessary. But when we do amnesia, here's how we do it. There are two ways to proceed with amnesia. One is a very obvious way, where we simply say to them, now you're going to forget everything that happened during the session, or something along those lines. Or you may want to tell them that they may find it difficult to remember certain things that you said during the session. That's a fairly direct approach, telling them they're going to forget things that you said during the hypnosis session. The second way is more of an oblique way, which is the way I prefer. You may want to say something like this. You may find it difficult to remember what I was talking about 3 minutes ago, and you can try to recall what I was saying 7 minutes ago, but doesn't it seem like too much work to try to recall these things? In fact, you may find it takes more effort than you're willing to expend. So just relax, and relax peacefully, and understand that it's not necessary to remember everything when it involves too much work. Now, this is an indirect approach, and oftentimes I'll have clients come out of hypnosis and actually quote this to me and not even realize what it is. That's okay. We're not being deceitful, but some of these things, if they understand the mechanics of them, can actually work against them. We don't want people picking apart the mechanics of everything. That's one of the main reasons we use amnesia, so that the person, if they've been paying careful attention to everything, they will tend to forget certain things consciously. Subconsciously, we never forget anything. Everything we ever hear or see or do or experience is recorded forever in our subconscious mind. And that's all that really matters, what's in the subconscious mind. People who are overly analytical will tend to at least try to stay conscious during the whole process. Now, they will at least be in alpha, but they may not go to the deeper states. This amnesia is one final attempt to have them, number one, experience the true power of hypnosis, and number two, get the full effects by not consciously analyzing things. The less things we have for them to consciously analyze, the more benefit they'll have. Some people, though they come to you and trust you fully, still hold back a little bit. That holding back is actually going to work against them. We want them to give themselves over completely to the process. Amnesia is one way to get them to totally commit. Now, it doesn't always work. Amnesia is not 100% effective. And I don't use it every time. It's just one of those little extra things you can throw in there to potentially make your session more powerful and maximize the benefit to the client. I work extensively with actors, and actors every now and then receive a negative review. Though that review isn't being read while the actor's in a trance or listened to while the actor's in a trance, it can have a very devastating impact on the person's life, affecting their entire career, and sometimes I have to basically rewire the person. My point is this: even if you're aware of every single word spoken during the hypnosis session, it can still be a very, very powerful session. Amnesia is designed to throw the conscious mind off the track, to have the conscious mind forget what actually transpired. If the conscious mind does have a recollection of it, as I've just demonstrated with my example, the hypnosis session can still be very, very powerful, because unlike when those actors are receiving those messages, these messages in the hypnotic trance are delivered at least in alpha, so they have an even greater chance of being delivered, up to 200 times more of a chance than in normal awakening. So, in normal awakening consciousness, when we receive messages, they can be very powerful. Under hypnosis, they're up to 200 times more powerful, even if we remember them. Amnesia is designed to throw off the conscious mind, but it is not entirely necessary. It's just the icing on the cake. It's the little extra. It's the little extra oomph that's going to add power to your hypnosis session. Having them not be able to recall every single detail of the session is going to prove to them that hypnosis is very powerful. One thing I want to point out, a cautionary note: when you're working with someone on something like memory improvement, or perhaps studying for the LSAT, or studying for the SAT, or studying for the bar exam, do not use amnesia. Though its effects are designed to be confined to the actual hypnosis session, it could potentially reach beyond that, affecting their memory beyond the actual hypnosis session. I recommend that you don't use the amnesia portion of the hypnosis session when you're working with someone in an area that involves them needing the full capacity of their memory. We don't want to take any chances. Probably it won't affect anything beyond the session, but just to be safe, let's eliminate amnesia when we're working on things like memorization or study skills.
You know what to do. Add to your recording some suggestions for amnesia. This can be short, about 30 seconds, followed again by 30 to 60 seconds of silence.